This is not a good day for Robyn Dixon, because not only is she facing backlash along with the producers of The Real Housewives of Potomac for them editing out all the times that she was aggressive, and fans are saying there is tons of colorism on The Real Housewives of Potomac. Now Juan Dixon is being named in a complaint for covering up, allegedly, one of the assistant coaches at his university, sexual assault. Welcome back to the Kempire Daily YouTube channel, your #1 source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So it was just yesterday when we were having our weekly collaboration with Layla Lynn and Grace Report talking about The Real Housewives of Potomac, and the issue of colorism came up because a lot of people have been noticing just the way the dynamics on Potomac are playing out. But one specifically was Robyn denying being aggressive towards Wendy during that whole twerkum something something party. You know, I don't know what that was supposed to be. But the actual receipts were there, and the producers and editors added where literally that Charisse had to hold Robyn back. But like I said during our recaps of Real Housewives of Potomac covering that topic, I said, producers, editors, where were all the edits for all the times that Robyn was in Ashley's face, and then the other time when she was in the face of Monique Samuels? That was a perfect opportunity to be like, well, here's the receipts. Well, fans are saying that they're protecting her because she's a lighter skin. As we said before, colorism is real. It's real, 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 real. However, the cast and some people have said, no, I don't think that's what's happening here, including Monique Samuels during her last reunion. She says she didn't believe that's what was happening on the cast. But as the seasons have progressed since then, Candace and Dr. Wendy Asefo have been pointing out that there is colorism on this show. Everyone, including fans, were citing the Robyn situation that happened this past week as an example of how they didn't highlight the amount of times that she's been aggressive that we all have seen and we all thought of. Well, I didn't expect that story to turn into this other story. Juan Dixon. So Juan Dixon is being named in, I'll give you a heads up that there's certain language that we can't use on YouTube. YouTube, come on. I have to be able to report these stories and not feel like I have to censor myself talking about adult things. We already know that this video is not meant for children. Can we just speak the things that we need to speak? So please excuse me, guys. This is part of the reason. If I don't, they will kibosh the video. They won't, the video will not show up on your algorithm. They won't monetize. There's a whole assortment of reasons, okay? Just a heads up. So, first of all, this was sent to me via a lot of you. A lot of you were linking me to this, but I first saw it on Love Andy C on Twitter and linked us to the article. And this was in BaltimoreBrew.com. And I have to break some of this down for you. And if I'm mispronouncing the university, I apologize. I think it's Coppin State. It's an HBCU. So this is what the article is stating. They said that Coppin State University assistant basketball coach catfished a player online into providing intimate photos and texts, then blackmailed this player into videotaping certain encounters before publicizing the material when the player resisted further demands for sex. A lawsuit was filed in Baltimore City Circuit Court, alleged. So the legal complaint says, by information and belief, Lucien Brownlee, a former guard who served as a director of player development and a director of basketball operations, harassed, tormented, and assaulted the player, Ibn Williams, before publishing intimate material he obtained from the student. It doesn't end there, because I know a lot of you are wondering, so how does this involve Juan Dixon? Well, Juan is the coach of the Coppin basketball team. He is named in this complaint allegedly for failing to take action when he was informed, allegedly, of Brownlee's actions. So you all know, they cite this. They say a legendary figure in Baltimore and beyond. Dixon is the former University of Maryland standout and NBA player who Coppin hired in the spring of 2017. So, also named in the lawsuit filed last week is Coppin State University, whose officials, rather than supporting the distraught Williams, allegedly questioned him harshly and retaliated against him by withdrawing previously promised financial assistance. This is a mess. They continue. They say the way he was treated was abhorrent, said Williams' attorney Daniel Donnie Epstein of the New Jersey law firm Epstein Ostrov in a phone interview. Epstein said that they were able to build their case despite the anonymous blackmailer purporting to be a third party. Our strong belief is that Lucian himself was the catfisher, Epstein said. This is the assistant coach they're referring to, Lucian Brownlee. Even if Brownlee was just a fellow victim of an anonymous tormentor, the minute he became a coach, he had an obligation to report any sexual harassment. And Dixon, having prior knowledge of issues with Brownlee, according to the complaint, should have never placed him in a position of authority over players, Epstein said. The coach should have known better than to put this person in a position of seniority. The Baltimore Brew, says they were not able to reach Brownlee for comment. Dixon did not respond to a phone message and an email requesting comment about the matter, nor did the school's athletic director, Derek Carter. Coppin State University spokesperson, Robyn McCullough, responded to an email by saying, Coppin State does not comment on pending litigation. So here's a history of how this came to be in regards to this lawsuit. So according to Williams, in the complaint, he said he received a message through social media in the fall of his freshman year from a woman who seemed interested in a romantic relationship. He says that he was enticed into sending images of himself to this person of a sexual nature that he believed were private and in the context of developing a romantic relationship. The online paramour then started blackmailing Williams, threatening to publish the photos and text unless he provided more salacious material. The text continued through the 2018 to 2019 basketball season while Williams, quote, in fear of losing his place in the basketball program, his tuition and room and board payments, continued to respond to the person messaging him in a futile attempt to appease his tormentor. So in the spring of 2019, Williams learned from Coach Brownlee, then a senior who would return the next year as a staff member, okay, that Brownlee had also exchanged this type of content with the plaintiff's tormentor. The blackmailer then ordered the two men to have relations with each other, according to the lawsuit. Williams refused at first, but when he returned to the campus in the fall, the blackmailer demanded that Williams record and send a video of the plaintiff and Lucian Brownlee engaging in sexual things of a sexual nature. And this is according to the lawsuit. So they're saying there's this third party that was making these demands and was threatening to release these photos. But it doesn't end there. There's more to this story, and I'm going through it because I think it's important to give you a full idea of what was happening with all the parties involved, including Juan Dixon and his responsibility as a coach. So according to this report, they said in December of 2019, the blackmailer instructed Williams that Brownlee was going to coordinate an encounter with him, according to this lawsuit. Williams resisted, hoping his non-response would end the blackmail, prompting warnings that the blackmailer would wild out. Williams sent videos of himself, but the blackmailer insisted on one of himself having relations with Brownlee, sending, quote, repeated messages providing Coach Brownlee's availability. The back and forth continued through March of 2020, according to the suit. So we're supposed to assume that there's this third party, but it sounds as if we're not sure if there was an actual third party and it wasn't actually the assistant coach Brownlee. But the information and belief the blackmailer was Coach Brownlee, the complaint says. All right. So Unable to tell anyone what was happening and contemplating, wow, he was really contemplating taking his life. All right. Williams told his family he was uncomfortable with the rampant drug use on the team during its frequent away games. That prompted his father to arrange a meeting with the Coppin officials, and complaint says, in which Juan Dixon, quote, indicated that he was helpless to address the issue, the drug issue, in any meaningful way, and was adamant that plaintiffs should stay with the program. So the article goes on to talk about the past problems known to the school. We won't get into any of those details. I will say this in regards to Juan Dixon, because Juan Dixon is a public figure, because Juan Dixon is connected to hot topics that we talk about, a show that we review. This is why we're reporting on this story. The article continues in regards to his responsibility as a coach and a mandatory reporter. Okay. Certain positions at your, and you probably see this in your job, there are certain people that if they are made aware, managers are made aware of accusations of this nature, they are required to report them. It sounds as if Juan, in this complaint, they're accusing him of dropping the ball. So the article says this: Dixon directed Williams, okay, to come to practice the next day where the two met. And according to the complaint, Dixon admitted that Lucian Brownlee was mentally ill and otherwise emotionally imbalanced, and that his history was known to the coach, the athletic director, Derek Carter, and the school. But the complaint says the schools whose policy on sexual misconduct prohibits all of the things that you see in regards to what that would mean. Okay, but took no action to remedy the situation. According to Williams' complaint, he asked for an investigation, which, according to the lawsuit, a lawyer for the university further traumatized him with questions about his own sexual past and orientation. And they end the article and they say this: Coppin State then terminated Williams' housing and tuition assistance. Epstein says that he managed to complete the semester by working remotely, then transferred to another school to complete his degree. This is a scandal on, there's just so many layers to this, but unfortunately, because this is connected to Juan Dixon, there's going to be a lot more eyes on this story. Guys, as always, like I said before, we're limited on the type of language that we can use here on YouTube, but I want to know your reaction to this story. I am completely shocked, but I'm not completely shocked at the same time, because like I told you before, working in corporate America, there were plenty of people that had dropped the ball in their level of responsibility when accusations of a varied nature. It doesn't always have to be what we're reporting on here. If someone is creating a hostile work environment, I've seen people drop the ball. Literally, someone was just telling me the story of how a company is dropping the ball when it comes to an employee, a person in a position of power is allowed to get away with creating a hostile work environment, and the company has done nothing. People in the position that could do something have done nothing. And that is what this complaint is accusing Juan Dixon of. Guys, let's continue this conversation in the comment section. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. Thanks for watching.